my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, I just want to clear this row on my spreadsheet called quotes A through Z, and the name of the row is Appearance to the Jews. I'm doing a long-term study and a collection of quotes, just like I am for all these different topics. And one thing that I wanted to do was just like get all the information possible about all the different appearances of Christ as part of the second coming. So this one, it just like keeps sticking out to me every time I come on this spreadsheet. What I do, in case you're new, I have this spreadsheet. You can access it anytime. The link for it is in the description below. And it's full of all sorts of information. There's all sorts of tabs down here that you can look at. It's view only. You can only read it. You can't change it. But you can copy the information and you can read what I have. So anything that I've not covered on the channel yet through a video, I have highlighted in this horrible salmon color. And this helps me just keep track of what I need to bring up in future videos. So we're going to just do this one really quick. Appearance to the Jews. Before we do that, quick update on the Book of Mormon sharing challenge. 5,851 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared, and 573 people that have joined the challenge. So make sure to do this as you do, and as you report it to me to put on the tracker. It helps to encourage other people to do it as well. It's a very good thing to do. It's a responsibility that we all have, whether you report it here or not. Just do it anyway. Do it. And if you do report it to me, make sure to include hashtag flood so I can quickly and easily find your comment where you're reporting the numbers. You can also send me an email. Whether it's an email or a comment, please keep it very short. Don't have other information because it just bogs it all down, and it's hard for me to just go through and update the tracker that way. Okay, so back to this. My quotes A through Z spreadsheet. So we're starting with scriptures. So first up, we have Zechariah 12, verse 10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. Okay, so, but there's more. Here's the one that you're probably maybe a little bit more familiar with. Same book, Zechariah chapter 14, verses 2 through 5. Now, you see here how it's cut off. You can't see all the contents of the cell. If you click on it, what I can do, since I have editing power with this, I can just like double click and then the whole thing pops out. But I've been told that that doesn't work on your side. So click on it, and then up here, the function bar where you insert a formula, just drag it down like this, and then you can see the whole thing. And if it's even longer than this, then there will be a scroll bar on the right side. Okay? Okay, so Zechariah 14, verses 2 through 5. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Really quick, let me just talk about a couple things here. We've talked about the fact that ever since Israel became a nation, it's essentially been under an ongoing attack. Okay. There's been different actors, time has gone by. There's been different things going on with the politics of the region, but generally speaking, the Middle East has not been very friendly toward Israel, some more than others. And, Israel does have diplomatic relations with other countries. In fact, right now they're really working on establishing kind of like a relationship with Azerbaijan. So some are more friendly than others. Right now, Saudi Arabia is starting to turn against Israel and kind of aligning itself with Iran and Russia and China. But more or less, if you were to sum it up, its entire history has kind of been a common theme and struggle that they've had is to remain a nation and avoid destruction, whether it be from the outside or the inside. So that's one thing to think about. because I think a lot of people think that the final war is just going to be super big, super obvious, and that could be true. For all I know, who knows? But other considerations is that if there is a super big, just gigantic final war, and believe me, I know the numbers. I know the 200 million people that'll be involved in the war. That could be literal, or it could be symbolic, or it could be um, just giving you the idea of how big the conflict is going to be. There's different things to think about. But if it is like a big final war, it could kick off pretty quickly. Israel is a small country, very small in size, and well, it just seems like day by day, those nations and groups around it are becoming more and more hostile. So things could erupt pretty quick, and before you know it, we're there. Now, I'm aware of like different time frames and stuff that are said in the scriptures. I don't have those on here right now. I'll find them. Um, some people will be like, "Well, we know that the second coming cannot happen because the war is supposed to take this much time, and so they're not even at war yet." I would caution you against that. Okay, we've looked into the symbolism of things like 3.5, whenever it's talking about like 3.5 years and stuff like that, and there is a symbolic nature to that. I'm not going to go through all that right here. Look at my playlist called Symbolism. But anyway, my point is that Israel has been in trouble since the very beginning and has miraculously been kept afloat. And I would argue that the Lord could just stop protecting Israel for just a little bit and just instantly they could be invaded. So anyway, this is just something to think about. Okay. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Now, one thing, in case you're new to the channel or you missed this video, this year in Turkey, let's see, Olive Grove split earthquake. When this happened, this blew my mind. Let's just go to this one right here. There's different places that you can go. So you remember that big earthquake at the beginning of the year? Well, we know that there's going to be an earthquake when Christ comes to Jerusalem, and it would seem that that earthquake is going to be what causes the Mount of Olives to split. Not sure exactly, but whatever the case, there was a literal Mount of Olives in Turkey, so not far from Israel. That was, they even say it right here. I still have the highlights. A verdant olive grove was cleaved in two. I mean, they're basically like using, that phrase, cleaved in twain, but here they're using cleaved in two. Here's the dimensions. You see the picture. It's just unbelievable. I'll put this article in the description below. But I would tend to take this as a warning and a sign. And maybe it's not that far away that this is going to be happening to the Mount of Olives. And this is going to be what it looks like. All right, so let's go back. All right, continuing verse 5. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. Now this is key, and I need to highlight that in red. It seems to me, through my studies, that whenever the quickening happens and we go to be with Christ in the midst of the pillar of heaven in the clouds, that we would come with him to the Jews, and then also for the final appearance to the world. That's the way to me that the scriptures read. I can't find any like very clear thing on that, I don't think. Unless it's in my final quote here. I can't remember because it's been so long that it's been on here. Okay, now let's go to D&C 45 through 53. But before the arm of the Lord shall fall, and an angel shall sound his trump, and the saints that have slept shall come forth to meet me in the cloud. So it's the same thing. This is talking about the resurrection. We know that the resurrection takes place at the same time as the quickening of those that are alive. Wherefore, if ye have slept in peace, blessed are you. For as ye now behold me and know that I am, even so shall ye come unto me, and your soul shall live, and your redemption shall be perfected, and the saints shall come forth from the four quarters of the earth. Then shall the arm of the Lord fall upon the nations, and then shall the Lord set his foot upon this mount, and it shall cleave in twain. There it is right there. And the earth shall tremble and reel to and fro, and the earthquakes also shall shake. So I think that's the earthquake. So I guess you could say it's obviously the Lord, his presence that causes the earthquake. So that's the correct order of things. And the Lord shall utter his voice, and all the ends of the earth shall hear it, and the nations of the earth shall mourn, and they that have laughed shall see their folly. And calamity shall cover the mocker, and the scorner shall be consumed, and they that have watched for iniquity shall be hewn down and cast into the fire. And then shall the Jews look upon me and say, What are these wounds in thy hands and in thy feet? Then shall they know that I am the Lord. Right? Because they're looking for a different Messiah. For I will say unto them, These wounds are the wounds with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. I am he who was lifted up. I am Jesus that was crucified. I am the Son of God. And then shall they weep because of their iniquities, and they shall lament because they persecuted their king. That's going to be a very bittersweet moment for them. And I would suppose if you're righteous and you're part of this event as you're coming down with Christ, that you'll witness this. It's going to be something else. Okay, now the last one that I want to share with you. This is Charles W. Penrose. Let me look him up really quick. I need to put his office and his calling I'm starting to put that along with the reference. So he was first counselor in the first presidency. That's how far up he went. So Charles W. Penrose, a member of the first presidency, first counselor. Okay, this is what he says in the Latter-day Saints Millennial Star. Okay, Christ's next appearance after his appearance in the New Jerusalem will be among the distressed and nearly vanquished sons of Judah. At the crisis of their fate, when the hostile troops of several nations are ravaging the city and all the horrors of war are overwhelming the people of Jerusalem, he will set his foot upon the Mount of Olives, which will cleave and part asunder at his touch. Attended by a host of heaven, again, I assume that would be us. It would be those that are resurrected, probably the city of Enoch as well. We've seen, it's been said that the city of Enoch, they were translated, but afterwards they were resurrected. They went through the twinkling process. I'm not going to find that right now, but I have it here somewhere on this spreadsheet. I think I have it on this spreadsheet. Okay, he will overthrow and destroy the combined armies of the Gentiles and appear to the worshiping Jews as the mighty deliverer and conqueror so long expected by their race. And while love, gratitude, awe, and admiration swell their bosoms, the deliverer will show them the tokens of his crucifixion and disclose himself as Jesus of Nazareth, whom they had reviled and whom their fathers put to death. Then will unbelief depart from their souls, and the blindness in part which has happened unto Israel be removed. In part. Remember, what we've studied is that what's going to happen after this point, and in the beginning of the millennium, the gospel is going to go in earnest to the Jews. So you can see how this would open up the great missionary work to be done among them. Okay, a fountain for sin and uncleanness shall be open to the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and a nation will be born unto God in a day. They will be baptized for the remission of their sins and will receive the gift of the Holy Ghost, and the government of God as established in Zion will be set up among them, no more to be thrown down forever. So very interesting stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping that we see this sooner than later. But again, this right here was, I think, a big hint to be ready to witness this happen in Jerusalem. And I don't think that time is far distant. All right, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.